Talk is picking up again, with people online suggesting that past concerns involving Jay-Z may be resurfacing. Gene Deal has added fuel to the conversation, saying Jay-Z could be drawn into a new round of public attention. There is no proof behind these claims, but the chatter continues to grow. Some sources believe Beyoncé may be choosing to keep a bit of distance for now. At the same time, a few industry insiders say Diddy has pulled back, feeling disappointed that Jay-Z didn't stand by him during a difficult period.
To me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s.
Did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah, he was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It's probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some bullshit, he could rise up in between both of them. You know what I mean?
For a long time, people who follow industry commentary have said that Jay-Z is no stranger to intense situations. However, many now believe the current attention has put him in a reactive position instead of one where he's leading the narrative. Voices like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have shared similar views for years, often pointing to ongoing tension around both Jay-Z and Diddy within the industry. They've repeatedly warned that unresolved pressure has a way of coming back around. While Diddy's challenges have already played out in public, these commentators now suggest that Jay-Z could be facing increased scrutiny as talk and speculation around him continue to build.
Four gentlemen got together, gonna put up $30 million apiece.
Contemplating doing the first black-owned distribution company.
The thing is, they wasn't trying to let us in the door. That's why I don't trust these people.
But Suge came up with the idea. It was a brilliant plan. He said, whatever the recording fund is, 10% goes to the union. Each time you do a new album, 10%. It was going to be some get down or lay down shit. Shortly after that, the feds raided me.
All of us was being hit up around the same time.
Someone left that meet talking about our move.
It was Jay-Z and Puff that went to those New York corner to let them know what Suge Knight was trying to do. They told Jay, if you help us get rid of Dame, we're going to make you the president of Def Jam.
Why don't we stick together and they got to come to us? For some reason, everybody just wants to do everything on their own. They don't understand.
Quiet talk within the industry suggests that some insiders still question Jay-Z's dependability, often pointing back to a widely discussed situation from 1999 involving Lance Rivera. The matter ended with Jay-Z accepting responsibility for a minor legal offense, even though Rivera has always stated that Jay-Z did not physically harm him. That difference in accounts has fueled years of debate, with many wondering why Rivera has continued to stand by that claim. As a result, the story remains a topic the industry revisits from time to time, adding ongoing curiosity to an already complicated history.
Turned himself in tonight, and the cops started working on his rap sheet, accusing him of a stabbing at a trendy party.
Kimberly Richardson is at Midtown South right now. Kimberly.
For Rosanna, just a few hours ago, police here at Midtown South arrested Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z. The rap star voluntarily turned himself in here at the precinct earlier this evening. Now, Carter is being held here in connection with that stabbing fight that erupted at the Kit Kat Club last night. But just a few moments ago, Carter's attorney had this to say.
He's not involved in this, period.
He was at the club?
That's my only comment. He wasn't involved in this.
So it was someone else that did the stabbing and the hitting?
I didn't say that. I said he was not involved in it.
Now, Slovis goes on to say that at no time was Jay-Z hiding from the police, that they were in touch with cops all day and that they're trying to resolve this as gentlemen. But as Mike Sheehan shows us, others say they've seen the dark side of Jay-Z.
I have my faults. I'm not.
For years, commentators have said that Jay-Z has shown little open reflection on the Lance Rivera situation. They often reference past interviews that were framed as moments of growth, but came across to some critics as carefully measured rather than deeply personal. These same observers point out that the differing stories about what happened at the Kit Kat Club have only increased uncertainty. Various witnesses have shared their own versions, yet Rivera continues to say that Jay-Z never hurt him. That clear difference in accounts has kept the topic alive, with many wondering why Rivera has remained firm in his position. As a result, the situation remains surrounded by unanswered questions and ongoing discussion within the industry.
Well, you pled guilty to charges of, I don't remember exactly the charges, assault with a deadly weapon.
They would have never let me be out here with you.
Okay.
That was the case.
You stabbed him. Okay. All right. Do you feel like that was a mistake in hindsight?
I believe that was the greatest thing ever. This is gonna sound crazy, but I believe that helped me. You know what I'm saying? Because that put the brakes on everything. That let me know that no matter how successful you are and how much you on your road, it can all stop. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still kid from Marcy Projects, and you know, not everybody they waiting for you to mess up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just go ahead. You know what I'm saying? We let you just go ahead and self-destruct yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that right there was a moment I was like, okay. You know, and I'm glad they didn't have to take for me to be in jail for like 7 years to be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? That moment was like, okay, all that stops. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not going to parties with 30 people, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna put myself in that position.
When you look at Dame still kind of living that life, you know, you could find Dame at the club, you know.
Yeah, but he's with 30 models. It's a little different. I was with the hood.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. He's hanging at a different.
Industry talk is growing louder, with some saying that after Diddy's recent collapse, Jay-Z could become the next well-known name to face intense public focus. A few commentators suggest that influential players may be setting their sights on major figures. Others point to Ice Cube's wider view, noting that Diddy's swift drop from worldwide success to serious money problems and legal issues in such a short time seems unusual to them. This has led to speculation that bigger forces may be at work behind the scenes. Now, those same voices believe Jay-Z could eventually experience similar pressure as the overall mood in the industry becomes more tense and uncertain.
Any kind of run-in with Diddy? Did you ever do anything with Diddy? Any projects you worked on with him?
He produced a few records, or had his producers do a few records on my War and Peace album, the Peace Disc. Yeah.
How was he to work with?
It was cool. You know, he gave us great music. We flew out to New York, and I was mainly in the studio with the producer. You know, he had a stable of producers, so I was in the studio with his stable of producers, and I think we did some great music. And you know, I really kind of, you know, lost contact with him and really stopped, you know, dealing with Puffy around 94.
Oh, yeah. Any specific reason?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they was doing their thing, I was doing mine. And, you know, I'm not the partying type. You know what I mean? I ain't never been to a Diddy party. I ain't never really wanted to go, but I don't go to a lot of people parties. You know, that's just...
Some commentators argue that Jay-Z's tough public image doesn't always match certain behind-the-scenes stories that have circulated for years. They often bring up long-running rumors from the 1996 East Coast, West Coast era, claiming that Jay-Z stayed in his Las Vegas hotel room to avoid a tense situation involving Tupac. Gene Deal has frequently described the mood at the time as highly charged, saying things only settled after Suge Knight stepped in and encouraged Tupac to keep the evening calm so Jay-Z could still take the stage. Over time, these stories have become part of hip-hop discussion, continuing to shape debates about how Jay-Z handled pressure during one of rap's most intense chapters.
Story behind Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room because of Pac.
All right, what happened is that I guess Pac had got whiff that Jay-Z was in town. Well, you know he gonna do a show because Jay-Z, he doing a show. But you got to realize Jay-Z had became an enemy of Pac because I think he had said some, was gonna do a song with Big or whatever like that, the whole 9 yards. So Jay is now Pac's enemy too. So Chaz Williams, who was over Black Hands. Black Hands was one of the labels who did that Black Gangster had every artist in New York on, and Chaz, who is now getting into the music business, has become a music executive, and he was once a former gangster who was on American Gangster BET because they had him down for robbing 161 banks. That's what they put in their program and everything. But Chaz was a gangster in New York City that became a music executive. So he gets a phone call saying that Jay is not going to come out the room because Tupac threatened him. So he's not going to do his show. Can he make some phone calls, you understand, to get Pac off the bullshit? So I think he may have talked to Big D, and Big D and Eric B called Suge, and Suge was laughing, saying that wasn't him. Because they tried to make it seem like it was Suge that was doing it, but it was Pac. So I guess Suge called Pac. Pac let him go ahead and do his show and everything like that. But Jay was scared to come out his room.
So that story was really true about Jay-Z being afraid to come out his hotel room.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, he was scared.
Some industry voices also point out that Gene Deal has, at times, made lighthearted or blunt remarks about Jay-Z, using them to question whether Jay-Z is as intimidating as his reputation suggests. Critics argue that if his presence were truly as overwhelming as some claim, people wouldn't feel so comfortable speaking openly about him. These comments add yet another angle to the ongoing discussion about Jay-Z's public image and how much of it is shaped by real experiences versus long-standing legends within the industry.
He was being disrespectful. We was in Cancun, and he had a personal assistant from my block named Laura, and he had brought like 6 people to the club with him, and he was only supposed to get 3 people in. I was running the door at Daddy-O's from Industry Entertainment. They just told me Jay-Z only get 3 people in. So I'm at the door. I said, yo, Jay, you good? And 3 of your others good, but the other 3 got to pay. So then he said, Laura, handle him. And at that time, the type of dude I was, you couldn't tell no woman to handle me when I'm talking to you as a man. I said, who you talking to like that? You telling her to handle me? And then me and him, you know, he didn't say nothing. He just turned to the side. And if he'd have turned back around, he'd have got his head knocked off. But Laura told me, yo, Gene, please, Gene, you gonna make me lose my job. You know what I'm saying? And because one, she was beautiful, 2, she's from our block, I wasn't gonna do that to her. So I gathered myself, stepped away from the situation.
Some commentators have long claimed that Diddy and Jay-Z operated within the same social and professional circles, connected through overlapping networks and long-standing industry stories. These accounts, which Gene Deal says he heard directly, have fueled talk about how closely linked their paths may have been. Critics point out that while Diddy eventually faced heavy public attention, Jay-Z appeared to remain protected by quiet support and behind-the-scenes loyalty, avoiding the same level of scrutiny. Now that Gene Deal is speaking more openly than before, these voices believe hidden details could be coming to light. They caution that Jay-Z's carefully built success may soon be examined as closely as others who were previously thrust into the public spotlight.
To protect myself, that there's stories of Jay talking to underage girls. It was a girl from my block that was 16, 17 years old that Jay was talking to. If she was 17. So there's plenty of stories out there that they might flood the market of Jay talking to underage girls. I heard this kid that is claiming to be his son. His mother was 15 when she conceived him and had him at 16. And Jay refused to do a blood test or anything like that.
From your point of view, because I know you heard the statement that, you know, Jay lawyer came out with about how he wasn't really friends with Diddy. From your point of view, was they really friends or no?
How close was Diddy and Jay-Z? They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball. They wasn't playing baseball. They wasn't playing football. And they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So,
industry commentators, including Gene Deal, have fueled talk that Diddy is dealing with serious challenges behind the scenes. Insiders like Chuchi Finney have shared stories suggesting he's facing pressures the public rarely sees. Rumors have also circulated about tense moments during his time in confinement, which some view as part of a larger pattern of difficulties. Observers note that this is just one of several hurdles Diddy has been navigating recently, and the ongoing speculation continues to keep the industry alert and talking.
He was sleeping at the MDC Brooklyn jail. Somebody came and put a knife, pressed it to his throat. Now, as I keep digging into the story, they're saying, yes, a correctional officer or a police officer was the one who came and basically helped him out and quote unquote saved him. Yes. And so, obviously Diddy's lawyers are trying to use this as a way to just get him even moved to a different location. But right now, everything is kind of staying as is.
Yeah, his safety being an issue when he's supposed to be, I think in some sort of protected environment. Remember MDC, isn't that where the Epstein situation happened?
Commentators have pointed out that Jay-Z may not have the same level of protection that Diddy once had. While Diddy reportedly had strong backing, Jay-Z's support has come more from key figures within the industry. These voices now caution that if those allies pull back or lose interest, Jay-Z could face exposure in ways he hasn't experienced before, adding another layer of uncertainty to the growing attention surrounding him.
Yeah. Is he safe though? And you say something about him getting stabbed?
I was going to say Diddy's team is saying no, he's not going to be safe because in court we found out that there was an attempt on Diddy's life, that there was a man that attempted to shank him, but they stopped it, the correctional officers. And they say Diddy didn't even want people to know that he didn't want to make it a big deal. But of course they're having that conversation about will he be safe because of who he is and how high profile this case is. Right. They're also having a conversation. Mark Geragos is a high profile attorney, a friend of Diddy's, but also the dad of Teenie Geragos, who led Diddy's defense about Diddy potentially being raped in court. And we can and just attacks on his life because they say that people look at him as like a trophy or a prize and to do something to him.
Well, what if other inmates hear all of the stuff that we've been hearing in the news all of these weeks and they scared of Diddy?
That's not how they presented it. I don't.
That's crazy to say Diddy's a trophy. Like he's looked at as a trophy.
Industry insiders and commentators have long noted that the circles Diddy and Jay-Z moved in were high-stakes and full of pressure, with even experienced figures likely to feel tested by the conflicts around them. Michael Francisi, a former organized crime commentator, is often cited for pointing out that just the intensity of their reputations could make anyone uneasy. Observers say both Diddy and Jay-Z operated in environments where loyalty, influence, and power were always in play, turning every decision into a potential flashpoint and keeping the industry closely watching their next moves.
That Sean Diddy Combs could be sexually assaulted, violently assaulted. Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
Yeah, it clearly is a thing. I mean, they're already, and he did not want to make a big deal of it. They already tried to shank him once at the MDC, and that was thwarted. And it happens in prison. I mean, you and I could tick off how many times we are aware of somebody getting seriously injured or killed in prison. And so they're going to have to keep him somewhere that they can keep an eye on him. It would have obviously been better if he had gotten less time and had been at a camp. But he's going to be in facility where somebody's going to have to, from the BOP, and I think, they're well equipped to do it if they can, to keep an eye on him because he is a target.
So let's say he is sent to a minimum security prison. Is he out of the woods when it comes to that kind of assault?
If you're going, you and I talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, who went from the one place in Florida, which was a higher level, not a camp. And she was transferred after she did the interview with the couple-day interview. She was transferred to what they call a camp in Texas, which I'm familiar with.
Rumors are growing that Diddy is under increasing pressure behind the scenes, while some suggest Beyonce may be keeping her distance. Even the networks that have long supported Jay-Z are watching closely. Gene Deal points out that the environment around him is changing, with insiders warning that his influence could soon face unprecedented tests. As speculation spreads and new stories emerge, the industry may no longer offer the protection it once did, leaving everyone on edge. Stay updated to catch every development as it happens.
Being in prison and the circumstances him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this and nobody ever said anything about this. And I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive in jail and they was talking about he was, all the inmates loved him and they was employing him and doing standing ovation. I wonder what inmate was trying to shake him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans, or that was one of the Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard. They said that in court. One of the lawyers, one of the guards, stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bruh. And that was crazy. Nobody, I never, that didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs that, he ain't got to worry about.
For a long time, people who follow industry commentary have said that Jay-Z is no stranger to intense situations. However, many now believe the current attention has put him in a reactive position instead of one where he's leading the narrative. Voices like Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal have shared similar views for years, often pointing to ongoing tension around both Jay-Z and Diddy within the industry. They've repeatedly warned that unresolved pressure has a way of coming back around. While Diddy's challenges have already played out in public, these commentators now suggest that Jay-Z could be facing increased scrutiny as talk and speculation around him continue to build.
When we were on the street, we didn't get a day's rest. I mean, the government was all over us. The FBI is all over us. They got investigations on us. They got informants. They got surveillance equipment.
He was not cutting you off, but he was an informant for years.
Was he really?
Yeah. That's why when people was like, oh, he's going to run, oh, he's not. It's the reason why these type of people get caught up. They always been feeling they bigger than the law because they part of the law, And as you know, all these people get tired of their rap.
What he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not going to come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape. Doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not going to show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're going to start talking. And they're not going to be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they...
Some commentators argue that Jay-Z's tough public image doesn't always match certain behind-the-scenes stories that have circulated for years. They often bring up long-running rumors from the 1996 East Coast, West Coast era, claiming that Jay-Z stayed in his Las Vegas hotel room to avoid a tense situation involving Tupac. Gene Deal has frequently described the mood at the time as highly charged, saying things only settled after Suge Knight stepped in and encouraged Tupac to keep the evening calm so Jay-Z could still take the stage. Over time, these stories have become part of hip-hop discussion, continuing to shape debates about how Jay-Z handled pressure during one of rap's most intense chapters.